Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast, episode number 86. It's your job in the comments to tell us what we want to know, and that's who the top goal scorer was in the 1985-86 campaign. I'm not going to waste too much time on it, because let's cut to the chase here. It is the first podcast of the post-Postecoglou era.
That's not going to catch on, is it?
No, it is not. But it is. It's the first. It's the first one. This time last week, we sat in this very studio on these very... Well, Callum didn't. He wasn't here last week. But we sat here in this very studio on these very chairs, and we spoke about the possibility of Ange Postecoglou managing his last game in the Scottish Cup final. That possibility has become reality, and today we're going to discuss it all. We're going to discuss the future of Celtic Football Club and where we go from here. And to do that with me this fine Thursday evening, I'm joined by, first of all, Ryan McGinley.
You're them always here.
How have you been? Busy week?
Been a very busy week talking about Celtic for my job.
We get a point, you've got a job.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to be employed.
Is that a dig?
It's not a dig. Well, I'm cancer. There's me. There's a job away already.
Self-employed here. Self-employed.
That's that. No, you know what I meant, though.
Yeah, yes, of course.
I'm doing not too bad. I felt it in the air last week. I don't know about yous. I felt it in the air last week that he was going to go. I seen him after the game. Well, I seen him on the pitch after the game. He looked as if even more so that he was going to go. Yep. I heard his comments after the game. I was certain he was going to go. And then Monday happened, and he went.
He was gone.
And he was gone, just like that. Just like magic.
Yeah, so we'll hear all of Ryan's thoughts. The show goes along, and then over on the further side of the table, somebody's not been here in a couple of weeks, but nice to have you back for this emergency podcast spectacular. Callum Craig. I'm assuming that in the stores this week you've had a busy time with people asking if you have the insider info.
Of course, I mean, it's been the same question over and over again. What do you think yet? Do you think it'll be such and such, and how do you want it to be? I think we'll probably cover that as the episode goes on.
Oh, of course we will. We're going to go into every nook and cranny that we need to.
Yeah.
We're going to try and cover all bases. What is there to say that hasn't been said is the main thing. Let's just start from the start. Monday came around, and after a week of speculation, it was official, it was confirmed. Ange Postecoglou had left Celtic Football Club after what has been a marvellous 2 years. Mm-hmm. And a 2 years which is now splitting some opinion on social media. Some people getting very bitter. Some people not so bitter. Let's just kick off with you, Ryan. Ange is away.
Yep.
It was an opportunity he couldn't not turn down.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest move that he would have got directly from Celtic, or the biggest job that was available there for him to take. I think it was a no-brainer. I was saying that in the previous podcast. I remember we were sitting here 2 weeks ago talking about the initial interest, and it never went away. And I think the best thing about the move is that it happened quickly.
Yep.
By the time the cup final, we had a day or two to sort of celebrate it, and then he was gone just like that. I was just happy that it went quickly, to be honest. It didn't draw itself out, and I'm just hoping that our manager hunt won't be as drawn out as it was last time, because it was dreadful.
Well, it'd be a hard task to top the 100 plus days that we got the last time.
Get the banners out.
At this point in the season as well. Callum, on a scale from 1 to 10, how gutted were you to see the big man go, and what's your immediate thoughts?
I think obviously it is quite gutting, because he has had a successful 2 years with. He's won 5 out of 6 trophies that were on offer for him domestically. Obviously you do wish him, you just say you wish him the best. I mean, it's not he didn't do what other managers have done and left us sort of mid-season. He did leave at that point. He's left us on a very good high note. I think he's left us a very attractive club for the next manager to come in, and I think he's left all the tools there for him to do so.
A lot of people getting bitter. I want to come to this right off this just at the start of the podcast, address it, because even in my comment section, people not happy with my outlook on things. My outlook is simply that I don't wish him any malice or bad thoughts. It goes with my best wishes. I thank him. A lot of people are getting problematic with me in my comment section for bumming him up and all the rest of it, but he gave us a very, very happy 2 years as Celtic supporters, and for that I think that you can only be thankful. Like, every manager is going to leave this club at one point or another. These are guys that are coming in from all over the world. An Australian guy who's obviously wanting to get to the top of the managerial pyramid, and if he's got to use Celtic as a stepping stone, he's doing what any other manager would do. I personally thank him. I'll miss the football that we played under him. I loved every last minute of it, and he gave me some of the most enjoyable times a Celtic supporter could ask for. I don't know if you share the same outlook on things, Ryan.
Yeah, I do. Especially where we were 2 seasons ago. We were in crisis mode. We'd been turned down by Eddie Howe after getting taken down the garden path basically with him. We were told on numerous occasions that the deal was going to happen at any minute. I remember, even if you type in my name with Eddie Howe next to it, I've still got some silly tweets about.
I think we all do. I was making edits, Ryan.
Yeah,
I had edits fairly ready to go.
Hamish from 67 Hail had the mug.
A mug.
Yeah, I think he's still got it.
You wouldn't throw away a good mug.
No, especially if he could use it later on. I don't know. I'm not even going to go down that road. He's taking the Saudi money. That's that. But yeah, I'm not. I've got to be honest, I'm not gutted about it, because I was gutted the week before when I was hearing about it all. I got used to it.
It comes in stages, doesn't it? And I feel like the
death by 1,000 cuts.
The initial stage of grief for me, and the initial stage of like being gutted came when it was like, oh, Spurs are looking, oh god, this could be it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we realised the gravity or the sort of seriousness of that sort of offer. That sort of team that was in, they were obviously scrambling to find a manager. They'd had a couple of rejections, I think, from Nagelsmann, etc. And when it came to Postecoglou's name, it seemed as if, right, that could feasibly happen, by the way. So when he was linked with the job, and then he was obviously batting it. He wasn't really batting it away in the media. He was kind of avoiding the question.
Dancing around it.
Yeah, he was dancing around. I'm just thinking of Postecoglou dancing. Yeah, we're calling him Postecoglou now. He's a former manager.
We'll go professional.
I've tried not to use his first name all week. It's just one of those ones. Then again, I'm calling Rodgers Brendan again. So that's just the way it works. But yeah, once he was linked with the Spurs job, I was like, he's going. This makes total sense for him. And that turned out to be the case. So I do wish him well. Hope he does well down there. I'll be watching their results with keen interest. But at the same time, I'm not going to lose any sleep over him leaving.
Cam, he came in. He took us from a place that was meant to be kind of a year or two rebuild, and he turned it into a 3-year rebuild, and he turned it into a project over 1 year that became a double winning side, a side that looked far better. He's recruited so many great players. There is a lot of people saying that he's a snake, he's a rat, he's just as bad as Rodgers. I think that us on this podcast would encourage people to really think about the job that he done and what he actually built from the mess that he inherited before, we start batting him with that same stick that we maybe did with Rodgers a few years ago.
No, definitely. I think I'd said at least he's sort of, not saying solely just say he's done that because he finished out the season, but he's left us at a fantastic spot, as I touched on before. Whereas when you look at the way to finish with Rodgers, taking sort of the coaching staff, the background staff and that with him, it did leave us very high and dry, essentially. Like, right, where do we go next? I think, as you touched on the fact, this should be essentially like his second year of the rebuild. This should be him then going into next year thinking, right, we keep building it up from there. But the fact he's come in, done it inside essentially the 6-month mark, and then built on it from there, it's just mad to think.
He's silenced the other side as well. He's left them in a place where they are now where we were 2 years ago, and that, Callum, was something that at the time of his appointment, I don't think we've seen that coming so quickly, and yet them over the other side could only wish a winning trebles.
I know, I think it's more so the fact you just come off of that season they do not speak of, but like Voldemort, and everything just looked terrible. And then obviously you had the first one of the season, he's only 3-4 games in, the game at Ibrox, and then you get that result, you think, right, that's going to be maybe a long season. But as I said, we were all prepared for the rebuild. We knew it wasn't going to be or shouldn't have been a first season thing where you go and get the silverware right back in. The fact they came in and done that, I think it sort of defied it for a lot of folk, especially at our side of the city, saying, right, well, we need to sort of buck up our own ideas here. They've had a man that's come in, he's come over himself, and this is the team he's built for them as it is.
One point I want to touch on in regards to some of the comments he's getting, because Cam, you've not directly mentioned it, but you mentioned Rodgers taking some of the coaches and all the rest of it. We're now in a position where Brendan Rodgers could be, not Brendan Rodgers, Ange could be taking, potentially, most likely, John Kennedy and Gavin Strachan with him. It's been said in the media that Kennedy has requested to explore that opportunity. I'm assuming that Gavin Strachan might not be too far behind in doing so. But I think this is something people are going, he's taking Kennedy and Strachan and blah, blah, blah. And what? Is it just me that's like, I don't care? Like, it's time for Kennedy's been here so long and I love him to bits. But fair play to him, he's done everything he can. He should be allowed to explore an opportunity like that. And whoever comes in next, bring in their own coaching team, Ryan, it's natural next step stuff.
I wrote about this the other day, actually. I wrote about it yesterday. It's one of those ones where I think we've got to let them spread their wings and go away from the nest, basically. I'm just thinking of a Kennedy's a wee bird there or something. Kennedy's done a great job, or so we think anyway. I mean, the managers that he's been there for what, 4 managers.
Job, you know, obviously if he's lasted that long and worked with so many players and they've given all this good word about him, he's obviously done something right. Because
it was a shame how his playing career sort of transpired. That bad injury that kept him out for 3 years and then he really struggled to get back. It's for me, I think if the opportunity does arise for John Kennedy and Gavin Strachan and maybe even Harry Kewell, everybody seems to be forgetting about Harry Kewell here. I don't think he's going to stay if Postecoglou isn't there. But if the opportunity is there, then they should take it, because it gives a new manager the chance to bring his own backroom team in, and that in turn I think makes the job more attractive. If you can bring your own people in to the football club, then I think that attracts more elite managers, because elite managers will not settle for being lumped with projects or their own coaches or the club's own coaches, like they're sort of specified.
It must be the only major club in the world that's like, you need to work with these coaches. Like, I don't think many clubs will see that.
The club that Postecoglou just went to does the same thing with Ryan Mason, though. That's the thing. He probably will be lumped with Ryan Mason, so the similarities are definitely there.
Postecoglou's inherited 2 very, very similar jobs in that front, hasn't he? But it'll be a shame to see the likes of them go. But once again, I just don't think it's the kind of thing that I think people are overreacting, saying like, he's a snake taking Kennedy and all the rest of it with him. But these are the same guys that 2 years ago, these same people were saying, get rid of Kennedy, get him out the door with Lennon. So like, I feel like people can't make their mind up.
No, they can't. I mean, it's just as much the same way Ange to Rodgers. It was like folk with the snake comments. Like, it's not, as you touched on, he's done everything he can up here. Like, there's physically no more for him to do at that point. If he was to go, I wish him all the best. Exactly, he's done everything he can for the club. So,
it's about what comes next. I mean, there's not much else to say in there's not much to say in the way of Ange leaving. Not much else to say about Ange leaving. I mean, I don't know if you've got any closing comments or any farewells that you would like to say in regards to the big man leaving. Any final goodbyes?
Good luck at Spurs. That's it. But we move on, as he said, we never stop. With Celtic don't stop. That's. I think it was you that said, what was it? Ange's Postecoglou's gone on Monday, but
Celtic's still here on the Tuesday.
They'll still be there.
I've completely bumped that off of somebody's comment in my videos. And
I feel like we need to get Craig David in to do a version of that. Ange's gone on Monday. Celtic will be here on Tuesday.
Harry Kewell
Rodgers will be here by Wednesday.
Here we go.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. It's my
we'll probably get on to that.
Yeah, we will. So let's talk about the future of Celtic. This disclaimer, red fucking lights flashing. We are sitting here Thursday evening, 8:10. By the time this is out, Friday afternoon at whatever point, who knows what's going to happen. Maybe there's some major news. Maybe Brendan Rodgers has been spotted at playing golf with Dermot Desmond in the Huggy. You never know what's going to happen over the next few hours. We're talking about what's happening here and now. And we've had a few names thrown out there. We've had a few stories shone in front of our eyes. Wow, where do we begin? I actually don't know where we begin. Like, Because there's just so much to cover, and so many names.
You're probably best talking about the two names that have been talked about more than most, I would say, and that's been Brendan Rodgers and Enzo Maresca.
Yes.
It seems as if that Enzo Maresca City group sort of link isn't going away anytime soon. Even with the sort of breaking of the story yesterday of Des Buckingham, that name isn't going anywhere because he could maybe come in as an assistant.
Who knows?
Which would be long-term planning. Wow, if that was the case. But yeah, it seems as if those two names in particular, at this moment in time anyway, are the ones that aren't going away. So I think we should start there.
Let's kick off with Brendan.
Oh,
Callum.
no surprise there.
Callum, talk to me.
I don't know, I've got very mixed opinions on it, just like as I've been
Fucking
saying.
shut up! You take him! You know you take him! Get on now, I'll let you talk on you go.
I need to bite my tongue for the sake of working such, but with customers and that coming into it, they keep saying, would you take Brendan, would you take Brendan? I'm like, you'd be stupid naughty, let's be honest, you'd be very silly not to. Don't get me wrong, obviously you do remember what he did do in the past and that, he could just as easily do it again, but you think it was his team that cut the allocation. You've seen the amount of
Good point.
to use the word pumpings, but how many of them that we did to the team across the south side of the city, it was just continuous after continuous and silverware after silverware.
And that's the thing, people talk about this kind of, I've seen a few people, and it's the people who are very against Rodgers, Calm, but I've seen a few people saying like, oh, it's kind of going backwards, we're going to an old manager. It's not as if we're returning to another Lennon here, we're returning to a guy who came in and won 7 out of 7 trophies. To me, that's not gone backwards, Calm. You're appointing a guy that knows how to win and knows how to dominate this country.
Definitely, I think the one factor I seen a lot of folk to keep complaining about was the signings he made throughout his time here, but I said, well, you look at the signs that he made that went on to do fantastic things. You look at Dembele, obviously just became a free agent today, but I mean he went on to the likes of go and play with Leon, not like a Man City out of the Champions League. Right. He had Edward that done phenomenal, get his move down south, Sinclair, his debut season. There's so many good signings you need to look at, and you think how many good memories did Brendan give us to that one bad memory, if any?
I can't think of any bad memories, apart from maybe like Joseph Malumbu. I genuinely can't.
There's a point in the third season where it looked as if
we
it was...
started slitting a wee bit, but it was like he left us in a position where we'd won a League Cup, we basically won the league, and if he stayed, he would have won the Scottish Cup anyway. So it's like, for as much as you can see the standards might have slipped a little bit, we still ended that season with a treble, and then if he was still here the following season, I think we would have kicked on and done the exact same thing again anyway. I think that sometimes in football, you see certain cycles coming to an end, and I think maybe we're getting to the point, and we've seen it as Lennon came in, maybe Rodgers was going to have to start thinking about the future in terms of fading some players out and certain players coming in. But Ryan, if Rodgers was to come back now, he's inheriting a vastly different side, not just through names, but even through ages and players that are there. Because when he was Celtic manager, you've got to remember, he inherited Craig Gordon, Mikael Lustig, Scott Brown, a lot of aging players. There was a lot of aging players on that side. Whereas Celtic now, we have quite a lot of youth and so not so much youth, but players that are good ages in and around that team in a minute. It'd be very different for them.
Yeah, it's probably the most attractive Celtic side in terms of players that we've had in 10, 15 years, you would say, in terms of squad value, squad depth as well. Well, maybe not so much the depth, but you can kind of fling 2 or 3 players in, and you're still going to get a good performance, maybe not with the wholesale changes as we've seen with the results come the end of the season. But yeah, Rodgers would be inheriting a really, really good team that was made really, really well by Ange Postecoglou. I can't shake it. The devilish side of me would want Rodgers back, because I think there's a redemption. I love now, as much as I hate betrayal, I love a redemption story, and I think Rodgers would love that as well, to come in and sort of change the narrative at Celtic, because everybody talks about the way he left. Yes, he won, what was it, 7 trophies?
Yep, 7 out of 7.
7 out of 7.
Technically, I'm giving him 8. He basically won
the title. God, we've fallen over to win that title as well. Talk about a terrible audition process, and Lennon still got the job. But that's for a different day. I just think there's a redemption story to be told here, and if he is available, then Celtic would be silly not to take him up on the offer, I think. Yeah,
it's one of those ones, apparently.
He's a great manager. He's such a good manager.
He's a winner. He is a winner.
The only reason his Leicester side went down is because he wasn't getting backed.
Yep.
They sold they sold Wesley Fofana for 75 million and he only seen about 20 million of that.
Yeah.
So he wasn't getting backed. The squad was very samey, and you know if you don't change your squad in the Premier League, you will go down, because there's no teams that are too good to go down in that sort of area. For Leicester
found that out.
Leicester found it out very, very quickly. Look at the players that they've got in their team: Castagne, Maddison, Tielemans,
Yeah.
Vardy. I know Vardy's a bit older. Iheanacho, Patson Daka. All these players were really, really good players, but you're not too good to go down, and he found that out.
Talking about backing Callum, one of the reasons that we heard for Rodgers' departure at Celtic was maybe down to the lack of backing. They didn't really want to fulfil that vision that maybe he had. But you look at the last 2 years under Ange, and I would say that he has been maybe backed twice as much as Rodgers ever was in terms of getting what he wants and getting the money to spend. If Celtic could offer Brendan the same amount or maybe more of the backing that Ange's seen over the last couple of years, do you think that would spike his interest?
Definitely. Also, it would sort of raise his interest in the job. I think the only downfall is with it still being sort of the same board that was there when Rodgers was here. So will we see that element of, did we only really, not saying we only gave Postecoglou the money because we had to, but more so because they were learning from their mistakes when they realised that's why Rodgers left. Is that why they said to Ange, right, there's the money, do what you want, because they thought he's in this for the long haul.
Yeah, I get it.
So it is very sort of, I don't know, I'm very split with the fact. I think with it still being the same board, I think that would be a major sort of block in the road towards getting Rodgers back in.
Do you think Lawwell will play any part in this?
He's got to. He's the chairman. Although he isn't involved in like the playing side of things, he's still going to have to be there when the press conference if Brendan Rodgers gets appointed again.
Yep.
And you can't hide it, because Celtic fans will figure out very quickly what the sort of dynamic is. I mean, we seen Ian Bankier with Postecoglou. Now I know the feeling was good, but Bankier looked as if he didn't want to be there at all, and Lawwell is famously not.
They're
is not very.
but
Yeah, I know.
you think for the amount of money they've got in their pockets they'd be fucking smiling about something.
They've got to be stressing about something, you know. But yeah, it's a weird one. There's going to have to be some bridges that are rebuilt if Rodgers is to come back with Lawwell. But you know, it's for the good of the football club, and if he is available and he's willing to be in there, even for the medium to long haul, then why not go for it? Why not just kiss and make up, basically?
Rodgers is obviously my first pick. I mean, I feel
You love the boy.
I forgave him very quickly after he left. Like, it was horrible.
Did you ever fall out with him?
Maybe I think maybe no. Maybe
The next night you up Brendan. How's Leicester? How's Leicester, mate?
How's Jamie? I heard he's a bit of a character. I forgave him very quickly, and everybody knows that. Like, I've been posting about memes about him for fucking years.
The tribal chief stuff is brilliant, man.
I've dreamed about having him back. He is the head of the table, and like
Acknowledged.
But if he comes back, this is what we need to talk about now, right? How does he explain himself? How does he make it up to the supporters? Is it purely just waiting until he's got the opportunity to do that in the park, or like
A state address like Lawwell done after
that's
the
what
Dubai? He needs to wear the same shirt and everything. He needs to do it. I'm very, very sorry for what I've done.
Like, but if he comes back, he needs to fucking double down. I've seen a lot of this on Twitter. He needs to come up with the most manipulative bullshit stories that you have heard
he's
in
Brendan.
your life. I want Brendan Rodgers to just make up nonsense, and then when he leaves again, I want him to just double down on it. I want him to just kill us with these stories. Like, I want him telling stories about
He's really perverse.
I really, really, really want him to tell stories like the ghost of Willie Maley, like in his room, convincing him to take the job, and Brother Walfred appeared to him at the dinner table, and I want
What, like,
nonsense.
What, like the Holy Mary at Lourdes, or
I want a story.
Was that
I want to be
place
like,
in?
I was at Lourdes for my summer holidays, and as I pushed my wife through the water,
Sure, right?
I turned round.
Is his wife alright?
I don't know.
Seems like there's something up there.
I pushed her through the water, and I turned round, and there's Willie Maley.
Willie Melly, that was his name.
And I gave you Scotty Sinclair and Jamesy. So, just start singing. I don't know, just give him anything. Just the most horrible
This is a
stories.
bit. Absolutely fun. That bit. This is the Barcast Stations of the
want
Cross.
nonsense. But it is interesting, Calum, in all seriousness. Like, do you think in his first press conference he'd just have to sit there and go, fuck that?
You would love him. Some holiday rap in it. just proper wind up.
Do you know what he would do? I think he would buy a rental of the FA Cup that he won with Leicester and put it on the table. This is what I've won.
Gets his community shield out, bang. Look at this.
I have my dinner with this.
Now, will he bring Joe Allen this time? That's the question.
Joe.
The Welsh Javi.
What's some of his bits that he's that's a really weird sentence to say. What's some of, I can't even say it now. What's some of the funny moments that he's had? What is it, the bit that he said I'm Irish or something, remember in the conference?
I'm Irish.
Of course, he knows them all off by heart. He's probably got them in
Because somebody offers him a brolly because it's raining. He's like, I'm Irish. It's okay. I'm Irish.
I love him too.
And
He would be great in the Banshees of Inisherin.
it would be, aye.
The Brendan of Inisherin.
You say steady again and you'll be on the first plane back.
Guaranteed he does that with Haksabanovic. Haxa will get it.
You turn up in those griddles again and you're on the first plane back. First plane back.
Aye, but him with those big gnashers.
Aye, the grills. Aye.
You'll get done what I tell you.
He's a master at what he does.
Oh, he's a complete
Everybody's
sociopath.
going on about it. There's a lot of people getting this. Lynch quoted Tommy Burns. Number one, do any of you care about that? Like, do you care about
Yes.
him quoting? Do you?
I
Do you?
I guarantee if you look through the previous probably 5 managers, with the exception of Dial, they've probably all done it at one point
I've
or
seen
another.
a tremendous point on Twitter, right? And it was somebody saying, we lap it up when they back. See, when they come out with all these quotes, like, oh, he's getting right into it, he loves the club,
Aye.
he's understanding the club, but then they get dog shit when they leave for it. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, make up your mind. Do you want them to quote them or no?
Aye.
But the one that just brings me back, Brendan's the master. Nobody will do it like him. It's just that introduction to the
Clyde
Celtic fan. Well, that as well, but the introduction to the Celtic fans was, I remember Tommy Burns.
And then he
he
stops.
just pauses.
Because he knows he's
Hey,
going to get
He
applaud.
knows he's got the crowd and he's got us all by the boys, man. And then he continues on.
See when he started twirling the scarf, that does something to me. I watch it on a regular basis. He's like a master director.
Aye.
He's got the
He's
audience in the
He's
palm.
the Scorsese of Celtic Football Club. He
I
really
think
is.
you'll find him a good fella. See what I did there.
So let me run through the table. I'll start because it's obvious. Where does Rodgers lie in your options? You don't need to tell me your other options just now, but for me, he's first. McGinley. Roughly, you don't need
Second.
Second, okay. Cal.
Keeps fluctuating between first and second for me, but I'll probably stick with second just now.
Right, so we've got Rodgers quite high across the table. Wow, what podcast that'll be if he gets the job on us. I can't wait. Cannot wait. I can't wait for the fan media stuff with him.
Oh my god.
I'll be there, front and centre. Right, okay, let's begin. Like, you've done a good job at directing me where to go with this today. Maresca.
Enzo.
Yes,
Enzo Ball.
Feels like 2021 again.
It really does.
Names came for the fucking
It's actually
plan.
quite scunning in a way hearing the same names. You're
I know,
like, why are you not employed yet?
Well, he tried.
He did.
And he failed. I'm going to come to Callum first because I think, Ryan, you might be a bit more optimistic as somebody like Maresca. I don't know where Callum stands.
City group.
So, Callum, what's your thoughts on Maresca?
Personally, I would rather maybe try and steer clear of him, but I feel like it's just because, as Ryan touched on there with the City group, I feel like that's just a sort of like easy route for us to say, right, let's just continue going down this route. We take a look at him and bring him in from there, much like Dan Buckingham with him as well, part of like the Mumbai City team. A bit like that, I'm not really buying into it as much. And then we went to Parma, and what was it, 6 months later? It was bitted at the
I
door.
don't think it was 6
14
months.
games,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It was
So
five. It was 4 wins, 5 losses,
draws.
28% win
Yep.
ratio. That's
enough
great
to
numbers,
put me
isn't it?
off it.
It's like, I just think it's, Callum, like, a lot of people talk about the continuity of like City group of fans, maybe a similar style of football, but do you think it would be worth the gamble when there's probably safer options out there?
Personally, I would rather not take the gamble, but then I feel like taking it with Ange was a bit of a gamble as well. I feel
true.
because we could all go back to when he was appointed. We all said who essentially we didn't really know him. Aye, so obviously could maybe, but I'd rather we didn't take the risk with it and just went with a more known name.
Ryan, you're a City man yourself. You're in your City group. No, don't fucking.
I'm a Pep Guardiola man.
Aye,
There is a difference.
So Enzo is, if you don't know, the assistant manager to that ball
He's
team.
actually not even.
Is he no?
No, he's not even number 2 to Pep.
Thought he was.
I think he's like number 3 or number 4.
I've been spreading misinformation then.
Shocking.
Thought he was the assistant. Right, anyway, Enzo.
Let me double check that actually.
Right, it's fine, but I just want to know, is there any more optimism in you compared to maybe the casual who doesn't maybe read into the City stuff as much? I remember a couple of years ago you were all for Maresca. You were right in for
Because
it.
he's an Italian name. This wasn't based on
What does that mean
anything.
we fucking get Mario and Luigi in as manager? Like,
Well, that's a bit stereotypical.
well, I mean, you just
First of all, they're from New York. They're not from Italy.
They're from Brooklyn, yes, I
Yeah.
suppose. Right,
Exactly.
okay. What about Bruno Tonioli then? You want him?
Bruno, he's doing a great job on Britain's Got Talent.
Replacing the big shoes to fill of David Williams.
David Williams, yes.
Hey, but anyway, Maresca, you were a big fan 2 years ago. Are you as much of a fan now?
Not after his Parma stint, no, I'll be honest. His numbers are pretty good in the Manchester City sort of under 23 team. They won the Premier League 2, which is basically the reserve league. It's an overglorified reserve league.
Yep.
It's one of those ones where you look at the squad that he inherited at Parma. It had Gigi Buffon in it, yes. It had, I think, a player called Vasquez that played at the top level as well. 2 or 3 caps for Italy. I'd need to check that to be sure of that. But it's one of those ones where a guy that is quite demanding and quite forthright in his tactics and his sort of philosophies, maybe that'll translate better in a good team. If you bring this sort of guy in that's been working under who is the greatest coach, arguably the greatest coach of all time, in Pep Guardiola. I've said that just to wind him up. He's up there. Come on, he's up there. At least top 5. He's in the conversation.
Right, okay, get on with it.
Something must have rubbed off on him if he's working under Pep Guardiola. And you know, it's one of those ones where maybe another team is going to take the gamble on him, and then he does so well at like a Southampton or a Swansea, and then all of a sudden he's got the same sort of clout that Graham Potter has at this moment in time. So maybe Celtic should go down that road and give this guy an opportunity and see how it goes, because you never know, it might work out well. Yes, I know it's very risky. It's riskier than some of the other appointments that we could make, but I mean, I would like to see it at the end of the day. I would like to see, because if it worked and he could play the same sort of football as Pep Guardiola, it could be an absolute joy to watch. But it's too, at the same time, it's too risky, innit?
You've not convinced me.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to give you the.
But for me, it's just, I don't know. It's just uninspiring to me. Like, I don't know about you, Callum, but I would get behind them. I'm going to get behind whoever gets the job. Unless it's Kevin fucking Muscat, I'll get behind whoever gets the job, right?
See that's just so bitter.
Oh, trust me, I'll be better. I'll be better, alright. People going, he only played 20 games for Rangers, 22 many. That's what he played. 22 many to be a Celtic boss. I'll be better.
Some of the greatest custodians of the club were Rangers influenced.
I don't
And
mind.
you've
I
just
don't
spat
care.
on them.
I've not spat on them. I have not. But like, it's just not. Anyway, we'll come back to Kevin Muscat at some point. I just don't know. It's just uninspiring to me. Like, I would get behind him, but I'd struggle to get up for it, Callum. I'd struggle to like be excited about, Maresca.
I know. I think I don't really want to judge him on his style of football, because again, I'm not going to sit in line and say I've watched a Parma game in my puff, because I haven't. But I think it's just, I don't know, it doesn't fill me with great oomph behind it. It's not as if I'm like, yes, him.
Aye. Because it's like, you know, we're talking about guys that could be like future managerial greats, right? And Maresca's obviously one of them. But I feel like there's some other great options that have been spoke about that could be in a similar sort of mould, but they actually do have good managerial experience behind them. Like somebody like Kieran McKenna, who's been brought up, at least, you know, he's had a fantastic season with Ipswich, so I could get up with that. I could be like, yeah, you know what, he's done something.
Tell us the real reason. It's because he was a Man United
No,
coach.
it's not the real reason. I'm just saying, like, you know, at least there's just a bit of positive. Like, it was a gamble with Ange, right? But Ange at least won league titles. and Ange had managed at the World Cup, it was a gamble. But what the fuck's Maresca done? Like, you know, I'm not meaning to be disrespectful.
I know you.
Like, 'cause I don't want to.
but
I
at
don't
the
want to
same
slate
time-
a potential future manager too much. But
Just wait next week when he's announced.
oh, God, man, God.
The thing is, I think for me, what's even more important than a manager that comes in that has won trophies is a manager that has a good philosophy.
Yeah.
Because that will translate into the league. If you play a good style of football, surely that will translate to the good crop of players that we already have at our disposal. And this can be the place that they win their first trophies as manager. Yeah, it is a risky one. Maresca is a really risky one when you compare. It was a lot of people were sort of not talking down Kieran McKenna as well. Maybe it might be a wee bit too early for him as well. You could make the same arguments for the two of them, but both play an attractive brand of football, and that is important for me because I don't want. Like, as much as it was great to see Moyes winning the Europa Conference League, I was going to say the Europa Champions League. He wishes probably, but he's just a manager that would just not fill me with any confidence. He just doesn't get the best out of Flair players, and I'm quite glad that avenue has been.
Respect.
I know. To be fair, Paqueta got an assist the other day, so you know maybe he is getting the best out of him. But at the same time, he's known for the past for being quite rigid with his sort of formations and stuff like that. So I'm quite glad that avenue's away. But philosophy for me is the most important thing.
Right, so same question asked at the end of the Brendan Rodgers segment. If you were to put him at somewhere in your list, if you could maybe try and number him, where would they be? For me, I'll start again. He's probably like 7th or 8th.
For me, it's about 3 or 4.
Wow,
Four.
that's high. I think 8's been generous for me.
Wow.
Cal?
You've got loads of talent.
I think I'd probably inclined to agree with him again, about 4 or 5, I think, for me.
Oh, quite high up.
I think it's quite weird to be in that. Just as a wee side note, I think it's quite weird to be in this situation. For about 2 years, we've just sat and talked about Ange Postecoglou, and now all of a sudden, within a week, it was within days really, because he was lifting the trophy and then
It was away.
which is good. It's good. A clean break is always good, but it still is it's weird being back in here talking about this and Postecoglou is not the manager. I've been so used to it over 2 years. It's weird being in this position.
Time changes things. Madness. Right, so on that note, before we go into the halftime quiz and then we come back talking about whatever shite there is to talk about, I'm going to come to you because, Callum, you said that Rodgers might have been second for you. So if he's second, who's first?
Barry Ferguson. No, I'm kidding.
Barry, really? That's me going off at Muscat. So who's your first choice?
Talk about lack of divided city. I didn't make it, man.
No, I think maybe a bit towards Knutson, I think.
Knutson.
Going towards, yeah.
So was I'm the same.
So the two of you are Knutson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's up there for me. He's probably at like 3 for me.
I think we've got the eye test with Knutson. He passed the eye test for us because he's probably one of the only managers that came to Celtic Park, and I made this point earlier on in the week, one of the only managers that came to Celtic Park while we were under Ange Postecoglou, and we get thoroughly outplayed for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
We looked like we didn't know what to do. We looked like deer in the headlights with those
We
players.
played better against the likes of Real Madrid than we did against Bodo Glimt.
Bodo Glimt gave us nothing. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they did. That's a lie because Maeda scored.
Uh-huh.
That was a consolation goal in the grand scheme of things. So much so that the away leg, Postecoglou threw it. Because he knew he had no chance.
So there's been talk, Callum, that Bodo Glimt, was a report that came out of Norway today that
Denmark.
they'd be looking for.
It was Denmark. It was
Was
Danish
it
press.
Denmark?
Sorry, mate. Scandinavian countries.
Fucking, I've not got my notes.
At least I think it was because it was DK.
Right, well, okay, right.
Why
That was
did
what you
Where
said.
is your laptop?
Hell, there's no Wi-Fi. There's no point.
Right.
So
Let's get the shakes.
I need to start putting my notes in like a Word document.
You
Or
need to start
something.
putting your notes in notes.
I put it in pen and paper.
Usually I just keep tabs open. Yeah, it's just much easier. But Callum, there's a report came out of Denmark today that apparently the price would be £2 million to obtain him from Bodo Glimt. There's obviously interest from Ajax as well over in Holland. It would be a tough battle to get him, but you take something like £2 million into account. Is that something that you think would be a smart investment for Celtic?
100%. I think that is definitely something I'd rather see it as in the long run. Like, you do pay that $2 million and you make that back in trophies that you win. You know, find out it's worth it.
Yeah, Ajax is a tough team to battle. I think we're in a similar situation where we have Champions League football to offer. If we win the league, we've got trophies to offer. It's a stepping stone to a bigger job. Do you think Celtic would happily take that battle, or do you think they'd maybe stand off a wee bit?
I think it would be silly not to try and battle against it. There's no point just sort of lying down and taking it. You'd be as well as just going toe to toe with it. Obviously, you don't want to then spend silly money in towards it, but I think if you pay the 2 million, he's open to talk to you, then why not?
Ryan, Callum has made some very good points. Feel free to follow up.
I think if it's a straight shootout, and this isn't going to sound great, if it's a straight shootout between Ajax and Celtic, Ajax will get their man, unfortunately. And the reason I say that is because you look at the profile of Knutsen, he brings players in, he gets them, he gets the best out of them, and then he sells them on. Now, granted, a lot of those players haven't done well away from Bodo Glimt. That's one of the maybe red flags that I've got with Knutsen. Can he translate that to a different team? Can he translate his ideas to a different team? Much like his players haven't been able to do when they go to different systems. But what I would say is, with regards to Ajax, it's very similar to Bodo Glimt. It's just it's probably the biggest version in the world of a feeder club, in my opinion. That sort of conveyor belt of players. They've got arguably the best, up there with Barcelona and probably Man City as well, you would say now, in terms of youth academies. Arsenal too, you could put in there, Chelsea. You could name loads of teams actually.
Just ignoring United. Aye.
Yeah, what is it?
Just ignoring United. Aye.
Yeah, Man United too. Yeah,
Aye.
yeah.
Right, good to get in there.
Fair enough. I mean, we've probably mentioned Man United about 4 times already in this podcast. Got to get that City group balance.
Terry Andrews away. I'm joining Stretford Paddock. I'm away. United.
In Bickhausen.
Aye.
But I think out of the 2 teams, he would probably choose Ajax. It's just probably a better move for him. As sad as that sounds, but
I get
if
you. I do agree.
Ajax suddenly
It's
pulled
about
out,
Celtic trying to offer him the point that obviously I posed, the question I posed to Callum in terms of like putting up a fight for it.
he's not a young gun as well. He's
No, he's
54 years
54,
old.
yeah.
He's going to have to make that step at one point if he wants that, unless he wants to maybe just wait for like the Norway job or something
It'd
like
be
that.
crazy, like just hypothetically speaking, right? If we get Knutsen, if we go back to say when I was 12, you would have been what, about 40 at the time. Callum, you'd have been at 12 or so. I'm joking. You'd have been
I'd have been in nappies at the time you were playing.
But see, when we were like 12, if you tell me when we were 12-year-old that in the space of 10 years we would then see 2 Norwegian managers at Celtic Football Club, I would have been like, what? It's
mad, isn't it?
You know, it's potentially a chance of happening. Ronnie Dyler and now maybe Knutsen as well.
You just wonder if Ronnie Dyler didn't take that Bruges job, would he have been in the run? Because I think that the sort of setup and the players, but maybe the personality of the players that are currently at the club, that would maybe be a better fit for him coming back a second time. But all the best to him at Bruges. What a job for him, and I hope he really does well. It seems as if Standard Liège fans absolutely despise him, so that'll be a good away day for him to go back to.
Lovely. Right, so that's the 2 big names we've discussed. Knutsen, who seems to be, I would say, the majority of Celtic fans pick for the
I
job.
think he's the most holistic, but most people are saying that they want him or they would be happy with him.
I think he's like one of the ones that would kind of have a unanimous happiness behind it. So I'm going to quick fire throw out some other names, and I don't want bibliographies of them. I don't want huge discussions on them. I just want to hear a brief maybe sentence.
Okay.
We'll go back to Kevin Muscat first. No, and I will be bitter. I just can't
That's
do
a
it.
tough sell. That's a very, very tough sell.
And it's not, I'm going to take away my bitterness for a minute here. He gets off to the sort of start Ange Postecoglou did. It will be toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic.
Yep,
So there's me getting Muscat out of the way. Muscat, Ryan?
It's a tough sell. I wouldn't like I would get my head around it if it was to be announced, but it doesn't even look likely at this point. It doesn't look as if he's linked at all with the job. You look at the odds; the odds are getting higher and higher for him.
It was like, last time I checked, I think it was like 25-1 or something like that.
In previous times, I was like, maybe he could be the successor, but it's too tough a sell. He's not as if he's an actual standout candidate as well. It's not as if he's like absolutely dominating the league over there in Japan. And yes, he's done a good job. Yes, he probably brought through Iwata, and yes, there would be that continuity with the Japanese players. He'd be able to sort of scout Japanese players, and we'd have that buy-in, which was so important with Postecoglou. But you know, we can at the end of the day, we can scout other areas too. There's good players everywhere.
Callum, Muscat.
Nah, I think it was a wee bit sort of like Lee Johnson at the start of the season when he got the Hibs job. Obviously with his history with Hearts, again it was only a handful of games that he did play for him. He even seen it from the Hibs fans, he weren't too happy with it. I think they eventually got to it, but I could not see that being the case at Celtic whatsoever.
Cool. Oh, who's going?
No, I was going to say I just don't see the fans taking to it at all.
Graham Potter, Callum.
Don't get wrong, would love him. I think from what he done at Brighton, but obviously unfortunate with what happened at Chelsea. But I mean, I think even Chuck Lampard back in there, nobody could really do much for that Chelsea side. It was just a bit of a mess. Would be nice to see him, but don't think it's realistic. I think the wages will be too much.
Okay, right.
Yeah, at the moment he's 16-1, so it doesn't look very likely that would happen. I seen that he was getting linked with maybe the Crystal Palace job, which would be a good sort of fit for him, I think.
Yeah.
Similar sort of... They've got Flair
Back
players
at
in there, they've got Eze, they've got Elise, they've got Edward there as well. They've just signed Jefferson Lerma, I think, today as well. So that would be a good fit for him. A good sort of... And you're in the sort of Goldfish Bowl of London as
Is
well.
Hodgson defo away then? Do you know?
No, he's not definitely away, but it seems as if they've been looking for a new manager, because... Let's be honest, let's not beat around the bush. He's not the long-term answer, is he?
I love Roy.
So do I.
Roy, I should say. Right, Jesse Marsh. Name's kind of faltered a wee bit.
Yeah, it's again 2 seasons ago I would have loved it, to be honest. But those last two jobs that he's had, both at Leipzig and then at Leeds United, his star's fallen basically, hasn't he? He's become a bit of a not a joke figure, but those sort of Ted Lasso comparisons are just coming across a wee bit easier now than what they were before.
Callum, Jesse.
Ryan touched on it then. I would love a Ted Lasso in the seat. So just for it being a Ted Lasso moment, nothing else.
As the manager, just get him.
Nah, I just don't really see it happening. As Ryan touched on, he has sort of fell at a bit of touch a wee bit. Before we get Ange in, it would have been fantastic. We did all speak about it. It would have been a brilliant appointment, but I think his time at Leeds just sort of put his stock a wee bit further away.
And then I'm looking at the odds just now, just to wrap it up with a couple of
Pascal
other names.
Jansson's an interesting one, the AZ Alkmaar manager.
I've seen that. Baldy. Why is he bald, guys?
I don't know.
Why is there so many bald people?
Bald guys, I think the bald Italian that we probably should be pushing a boat out for is that, is it Vincenzo Italiano, that's the Fiorentina manager?
He's away to Napoli, I think.
Is he? Away to Napoli? That's a great move for him if that's the case.
I think he may be getting that.
I was really impressed with them last night. Obviously they didn't have the goal scorer up front, or they did have goal scorers, they just didn't find the back of the net, but I was impressed with their overall play, so that's a good pick up from Napoli, I would say.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now because, there's
probably be here next week.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, we're probably not going to be that much further by the time we sit. Well, actually, we won't be here next week. I'm on holiday. So is Callum. So is Keelan. Ryan.
I just don't get invited.
Blame the non-podcast members of the group chat. That's how I'm blaming.
I'm not in this group chat. I'm kidding.
God, I'll never get ad here now. I've no signal. How do you believe that? So we'll be back talking about all these names. Probably do live streams and all that nonsense, and we'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe we'll do an emergency podcast in Croatia.
Hope not. Slaven Bilic, imagine that. Oh, that'd be terrible, man, wouldn't it? Who was the boy that was in charge of the Croatian national team?
Oh, the guy that said he was the best coach in the world.
He nearly was.
Aye.
He nearly was. Got to the final of the World Cup 2018.
I can't remember his name. Right, anyway, half-time quiz time. I can't remember who's got the half-time and who's got the full-time.
Got full-time.
So Callum's got half-time. I don't know. Have you got a signal, Callum?
Aye.
Oh, good stuff. Why do I not get a signal in this?
That has the poverty one.
Listen to me. Povo shame in here.
I'm not.
Oh, I'm with you too.
That's why then.
Oh, shut up. That's a former phone salesman. I think she knows it all. Right, so half-time quiz today, Callum. What have we been given?
It is Who's That Tick?
Who's that tick? Gotta go for the full version. Could be Lawson, could be Duffy. Played for Celtic, now he doesn't. Who's that tick? Who's that tick? Lovely. If Keelan was here right now, you'd be killing yourself.
Oh God.
Get depression, by the way. Oh God. Right, Callum,
love you, Keelan. Love you.
So since you very rarely get the chance to actually play, Ryan, you're getting 2 chances today. I'll let you pick if you want player A or player B.
I'll go for player B.
Player B. Fine. So McGinley, you're up first. Your clue this week is ahead of a new season with a new manager. The link with these players is they signed for Celtic when they were taken over by a new manager.
Whoa. Right, okay.
Interesting.
So player A has previously played for Dundee, of course Celtic, then Leicester.
Dundee, Sellik, Leicester. Overall, sir.
I'm going to go into his profile just in case I need other clubs because he has only gave me 3.
It's usually the club that they joined
I
from.
joined
then
from
joined
2 and then went back.
That's a good one, that.
Just
Just a
in
while
case.
ago. It must be a while
I
ago.
try to think of players that went to Leicester in recent times, and there's like none that I
Yeah,
can
no.
think of.
Well, Can I get the time frame of anything?
Yes, so how would you usually do it? The year he
Usually, I
signed
would
for
do
us.
usually like signed for us, and then the year he left.
Okay.
Fine, so signed for us in the year 2000 and left in 2005.
Oh wow!
That's a while.
That is
Leicester, 2000 to 2005.
Oh, because obviously the straight away Leicester makes me think of somebody like Lenny, but he's
Yeah,
joined
me too.
from Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the other way about. Dundee. It's going from Dundee. Oh my god.
Neil McCann.
Would you take Kenneth manager?
Bobby Petter.
It is not.
Come on, who is it?
It is Rab Douglas.
Oh,
He
Rab
went to
Douglas.
Leicester.
Wow, what a move, eh?
I did not know he went to Leicester.
Aye.
Did he play
Could
for
not have told
Leicester that much?
I'll tell you exactly how many.
Wow, mad Rab.
32 games he played for them. There for 3 years. Went out on loan several times, to be fair.
Oh well.
I think he only recently stopped playing.
He was gone a long time, old Rab.
Right, had some career on it, to be fair.
Aye.
Right, Ryan, switching over to yourself.
Okay.
This one. So your man played for Sunderland, left Sunderland to come join Celtic, and left Celtic to join Ipswich Town.
I know this.
Can I get the time frame as well, please?
If you bear with me 2 seconds, he
Joined
hasn't
for
gave me them,
Sunderland.
but
Sunderland. Who joined from Sunderland? I feel like I should know this. Sunderland to Ipswich. Oh wow. Who could you be?
the time frame was from 2010 to 2013.
Got it.
Came for Sunderland, went to Ipswich. Oh, 2010, 2013. Oh, who the bloody hell would it have been, man? Oh,
When I heard the Sunderland bit at the start, I was like, it could be this player. Then I heard Ipswich, and I was like, it's definitely this
Sam.
player.
Sunderland to Ipswich.
I think there's one moment for him in particular that, if it is the player that I'm thinking of, one moment in particular.
I literally have zero idea.
You're going to pass it over to me?
I mean, you first I watch. I don't know, eh?
No, but
Cheeky.
oh, you're going to need a...
No, right, do you know what? I'm going to just fucking put a name. I'm going to say, oh God, 2010, man. Can't even think of players that signed in 2010 now. I don't know. Paddy McCourt. It's not him.
McGinley.
Darryl Murphy.
That is indeed.
Ah,
That
Darryl
is
Murphy.
Darryl Murphy.
United, remember when he
Yes, yes, of course. Darryl Murphy. Well, we're hopeless at this. Now that's that. Thanks, Kieran, for the quiz, the half-time quiz as always. We're just going to go right on to 12 questions today, which I'm going to let McGinley pull up on his device. In the meantime, yeah, Cam, you excited for going away?
I just want to visit that Celtic bar. Let's get the big mural with Scott Brown up in the wall.
Is that Dubrovnik?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm really looking forward to
That'll be
Celtic
fun.
life.
That'll be fun. Ryan, you got any summer plans as the season's now over?
Working, I think. Working
Just working.
Monday to Friday, maybe do stuff in the weekends. We well, not us together, but after that live stream, we both went to go and see Spider-Man.
Oh,
How good was that?
What a film. What a film. You went to see it last night, Cam?
Last night, aye.
Oh, tremendous.
Sorry,
So good.
I didn't know you
No,
went
no,
to see
you
it.
don't. Ah,
What, I mean,
so good.
where does it lie in our film, Marvel film list? Because I hate Marvel. No,
I think it's better than the first one, I'll be honest.
I think it's the best Marvel film I've ever seen.
It's up there with
Genuine.
Infinity War for me.
They bored me, they were too long. They're far too long. My ass was killing me. Just wanted at the pictures.
You gonna go and see Indiana Jones when it
Of
comes out?
course I'm.
Pantless absolute pants.
I can't even know, man. I've seen enough pants films recently. Watched the Fool.
What are you watching?
I watched Fool's
Panty films.
I watched Fool's Paradise the other night. Charlie Days.
Ah, you said that
director
wasn't up too
debut.
much.
Oh my, up too much, Christ. Up to fuck all. That was a terrible watch. It's a poor Charlie.
Tough watch.
Yeah, stick to It's Always Sunny fella. Anyway, aye. 12 questions, let's go.
Oh, good. Decky asks, if it's to be Brendan Rodgers, what one punishment should he face for walking away?
I think he should just get made to say the rosary. I'll do.
Hail
Parents.
Mary, who are in grace.
Hail Bertie, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. You know, then like go through it and give every like one to like a Celtic legend.
I just think for me, the Christmas advert, if he gets it, it needs to be something about him and like his regular clothes and Danny McGrain's there. It needs to be
That is what
That's
needs,
the-
they, no,
the
they
signing
need,
video?
They need to get A2 today. I think they give it and clarify. I'm putting my money in it right now. Danny McGrain's talking pish.
Wow.
I'm putting my money in.
Celtic legend
Danny
versus
McGrain's
Celtic pariah.
Danny
Wow.
McGrain's talking pish. Danny only said that because he was annoyed at Brendan. Put my money on it right now.
That's desperation. Can you feel that? All the straws that you're clinging to.
Cal, what would you say?
I mean, for any fans of Game of Thrones, I think seeing Cersei, the Walk of Shame, that right down London Road.
What, in the buff?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Shame.
Shame on me. Fool you once, shame on me. Fool you twice. Don't know what he says after that. Right, next.
Fool me, you can't get fooled again. That's a J. Cole song. What's the best breakfast cereal? By Connor Carr. We always get asked about food, and we're getting asked about food. And none of your Special K or Weetabix shite, that those don't count.
Good, because I wouldn't count them anyway. Frosted Shreddies. There's mine.
I don't know. I've said it, I don't know how many times in the last couple of weeks. I wish Ricicles were still kicking about. And it's not the same when people say, get your Rice Krispies and put sugar on it. So sugar fuzzed.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Cookie Crisp, I'll go with at that point.
Oh, they're good.
I don't know.
It's a safe bet.
Cereal. It's an interesting one. Cheerios, either Cheerios or Frosties.
Never been a Cheerios man myself.
Honey Cheerios have become quite fun.
Never been a
had
fan of them.
Honey Cheerios are pretty.
But I can get behind Frosties though. I can get behind Frosties. Right,
Just
good.
like porridge.
Nice.
Porridge is nice as well.
I do like I used to say I hated porridge for years.
Ready break.
Then bang.
You
went
have Ready
through
Break. Oh, unreal.
Went
Or
through it.
Quakers.
Quakers outs.
Cal, we've seen Cal's video last week.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
Smashed that again.
He says he's got nothing this week.
Nah.
He just misses Ange.
Well.
Why are you missing the Spurs manager? Focus on our own manager. Fair. James asks, James, one of the Man United fans, you get a wee bit of
That's my mate.
backup.
Good James.
Hero, your mate. If Brendan does come back and you get access to the fan media conference, will you ask him about the Danny McGrain story for me,
Yeah, but
please?
I've just thought that's what I'm doing. Imagine that how awkward the room would be, but like
They say it's because I've got one
it's
question,
Like
boys.
they go around everybody and like, Ryan. Oh, Brendan, a few years ago you told a story about Danny McGrain and his regular clothes. Danny later rubbished that story, Brendan. How do you respond? I don't know if I could deal with a second-hand embarrassment, man.
I think you'd get out the room.
I definitely cut your mic off as soon as you say Danny. But Danny,
Hello, Brendan. Danny. It's no on.
Pipe bomb.
Sit with my knees crossed.
You just walk up and
Brendan, as you lie there as uncomfortably as you possibly can, I've got a few things I want to get off my chest.
you realise you need to edit Danny McGrain's face when you see him pumpkin.
Fantastic, man.
Love that. Fantastic. You can't beat it. Kevin asks, thoughts on my Des, Buckingham, Fred and more. Now, I know, Callum, you called him something different during the...
I did. I called him Dan accidentally, so I kind of
Dan.
apologise.
I'm Dan now. Des.
So what's the one?
Are you just that comfy with him?
First name's basis, you know.
It's their own first name.
It's nickname with each other. You know?
Apparently he's up here for a stag do. It's mad, that, isn't it?
It's crazy though, the coincidence in terms of like, you know, a
Aye,
City Group
I know.
managers coming to Glasgow and all that. But Kevin had them on strings.
Could be the longest stag do ever for him.
I know. Like, fucking hell, I got Sellik show last night.
But that, do you not think that's mental? He manages Mumbai City, and where is he stag do? Glasgow.
I know. Wonder who it is. Because he's not Scottish, is he?
No, he's English.
English, aye. So.
But he's managed in, or he's played in Australia, and I think he's managed in New Zealand as well. So.
Fair play, Kevin. Fair play. Done a good job there, son.
Following on from that, Aaron asks, is Des Buckingham real or AI?
Oh, he's a handsome fella, by
He
the way.
definitely is.
He's a good looking guy.
And Des is real, Dan's AI.
Dan's the broken version.
Broken Des Buckingham.
He could be AI. We don't know. Could be.
Tesco's, Sainsbury's or Asda ranked by Sean?
Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's.
Agreed.
I'd go Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's. Only because Asda's right next to
you
me.
live beside that.
That's the
Asda.
only reason I'd sit.
I think Sainsbury's will always be at the bottom for us because there's just not that many in Scotland.
Asda's a fucking dump. You walk in and there's stuff out of the flares, empty boxes on the shelf. My time at Tesco,
I was going to say, you're describing Tesco when you worked in it.
no, excuse me. We
I've never spoke
ourselves.
to your dad, but you sound like your dad, or I can hear this is what your dad would say. He did work in a shop,
my dad
didn't
was
he?
manager.
There you
He
go.
managed the
There
shops for
you
years.
go. Inherited.
So but we prided ourselves on how clean our shop was and how presentable it was. We ended our shift with the best face up in the land. You don't get that in Asda.
Do you not?
No,
You've
you
been
do
to every
not.
single Asda.
Every Asda's the same. It's a fucking nick. Go to the crisp
I
aisle.
bet he's not as harsh on Tesco's.
No,
I don't see that. I didn't see that drop tonight.
No, because I tell you, when I go to Shettles and Tesco at like 10 o'clock at night, right, or no, later, sorry,
Deviant.
let's say about 11, half 11 at night, and I'll go in and I've got 500 fucking cages in the middle of the flare. No. In Parkhead, we had that flare clean for half 11. We'd have the face up done. It would be clean. Don't get that anywhere else.
So this is only Tesco Parkhead. You're
The only
defending the other
acceptable,
Tesco.
the only acceptable supermarket.
I was going to say, what happened to that Tesco now?
It wasn't your fault.
Really do workers like you. Right. Ad the Lad asks, what's your favourite nursery rhyme?
I don't know, fucking Humpty Dumpty.
It's a great one, isn't it? A great fall.
Move on.
No, see, because I'm lactose intolerant and have an egg allergy, I celebrate that nursery rhyme. Get it up him.
Poor Humpty.
Nah, that's what he gets.
Right, go on.
And I know I went into screensaver mode there for some reason. Just blinded. And if Celtic were to reach a European final, what stadium would you want it to be in? Cities, food and beer all come into play with this one.
Oh, I think you've got to go for like a German grin.
Oh, saying that, but somewhere on that would be brilliant.
Oh, true.
Enzo can take us there. Enzo can teach us where
See,
to
I
go.
was going to see the San Siro, right? But we've already
be
played
there.
a European
We'll
final.
be
This
there
is,
soon.
aye, we've already played a European final there. We've done Lisbon, we've done
Don't
Milan,
talk about that
we've
one.
done Seville.
Don't talk about that one.
Um, I'm going to go for. I've been so many times though. I'm going to say Munich. Bugger it, Munich.
I'll go Dortmund.
Okay.
Hey, I don't know, I'm quite open to it, like, to be fair.
Yeah, you good?
Do you think if we got to there, the Green Brigade would use it as a sort of like test match for their sort of ball?
It's like end.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I'm trying to think where in Italy we could go, like the Olympic Stadium maybe.
I know it's
on
smaller.
the new San Siro.
The Allianz
Standing up
Stadium
at the Allianz
for
Stadium's
Juventus.
alright,
Or
I think
Juventus
you're in.
Stadium.
Aye.
Okay, move to the next one.
Take that.
Let's get a show on the road. Quick fire.
Kendo, will TSF ever return asking for a mate?
Don't ask me. Ask
I don't
ask
know.
the head man.
I don't know.
You've got to ask Buick.
No.
He's in charge. Next
Buick's
question.
remote, so you know.
Aye, the remote's. Aye.
He's up there.
He's up there.
No, he's not up there.
It's up there. Up there. Right.
With Yakimakis, Postecoglou and Barkas now leaving, it seems like we are losing our Greek connection. Does this concern you?
Listen, tonight for my dinner, I had a Mac Tassos.
I knew it was coming.
I had a Mac Tassos. I had a gyros. And for the first time, I had baklava. I, for one, am more Greek than ever. I will never forget my Greek roots. Thank you.
Cheers. Would you have anything to add to that, Cal?
No, I don't think it really concerns me. I'm more glad the fact we're seeing the back of Barca.
Hey! Listen now.
I mean, there probably will be some point in the next couple of years we're signing that Greek player that just keeps coming and going.
Samaras for manager.
My question, I've got a follow-up question. Do you think we got rid of Barkas too soon without a new manager coming in and assessing the situation of the goalkeepers?
No, probably not. No.
I love this. He's a broken
Probably
man.
not. Aye. Right, do you know what? Because I think we're running very fucking late. that's it for the Twitter questions today.
Seen if there's
We
any other
spoke a
one.
lot. I think there's a lot of good questions in there.
There
but
was a Greg's question, but
there was one about
I've seen
ranking
that.
fucking free bakeries that I've never.
I've never heard of that.
Never. One's in Tolcross, Keelold says. Steve, no.
I only know the only other one I know is Olds.
Olds, yep, I know Olds.
I know Olds.
Grant's at the old flat. Grant's as well. That was a good one.
One of them.
There's a
The
lot
Asda
of-
Deli was good as well.
There's a lot of questions this week. We've not got. Listen, it's going to be a long summer. We'll probably do Q&A specials for fuck's sake. So, so we'll get to these desperately if we need to. But we're going to end off today's episode with a quick fire penalty shootout quiz.
Can I just quickly
it's Phil.
It's Phil. We need
We
to.
have to get Phil.
the big one.
Oh, Phil.
Get the legs out, especially for him, man.
Aye. Get him on the table.
Phil Smith. Now I feel bad for bypassing every other comment, but this guy.
He's the
Is
fifth man of the
consistent.
show. He's the
Yes.
fifth man of the show. There.
Yes, he's the fifth man. Maybe he could be Callum McKenzie. That's
It
it.
could be. That's where he's fucking been. Right, go.
Worst cinema experience, youngsters.
Youngsters.
There needs to be a comment in there for me. That's a bit dodgy. Took my grandchildren to see new Spider-Man, only for Ned's behind me to be smelling of hash. I immediately took the kids out and reported it to the staff, who booked us for a later screening. 15 minutes later, kids enjoyed film. I was sleeping.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks,
Acknowledge
Phil.
him.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Phil. I don't know what worst cinema.
He's a less controversial Phil than other ones, let's be honest.
Can't think of it. My worst cinema experiences. I don't think I've really had that like stand out. I wish Kieran Old was here to tell his story about the. See, I ever told you, Kieran, about the. Like the. I think it was Malams, and it's like the ones that are like a sphere. They're like boys.
Are they wee boys?
Has he ever tell you
No.
the story? Oh my! He needs
I'm
to
gonna ask him that in a
he
chat
needs to be
later.
here to tell it. Like we'll get it next week or something when he's on, or a couple of weeks when he's back on. Cause I want to tell his story, but it makes me laugh every time. But I don't have any bad experiences. Fixtures. So that's us, right? It's time for the quiz, which I believe Ryan McGinley also has for us this evening, and that will wrap us up for tonight on this bumper
Quickly, there was,
spectacular.
I read through the quiz earlier. Another great quiz by Kieran. Thank you very
Kieran,
much.
as always.
Yes. So I'll ask Callum. Callum, do you want to be player A or player B?
I can go player B.
Everybody seems to go player B nowadays. Have you noticed that?
It's
Bit of
just
mind
takes-
games.
Aye.
Right. So Ryan, you are up first.
I sit back like I normally do.
Question number 1. How many points did Celtic get this season? Oh, I need to read. I need to read out that.
Oh,
the
sorry.
The
Right.
synopsis or
Right.
the.
All right.
plot
Okay. Aye.
or
Hurry
whatever.
up. Aye.
End of season podcast quiz. End of season podcast means end of season recap quiz. So this includes Celtic, Scotland, UK, Europe, and world rounds.
Okay,
So we got a wee mixture, a wee little mix.
Aye.
Jesse Nelson, what did you do? So player A, which is Ryan Fitzsimons.
Nice.
How many points did Glasgow Celtic league champions get this season?
Just in the league.
Just in the league.
99.
You only get points in the.
No.
To be fair, you
Aye,
get named.
99.
Correct.
Yes. Thank you.
Player B, Callum Craig. Who was Celtic's top goal scorer after Kyogo this season?
Jota?
Correct. We're at 1 each.
Nice. Good start.
Oh, good start like that.
Like a bit of competition.
Question number 2. Who won the Scottish League One title?
Did Fairmont?
Correct. 2-1
Gonna
to
say
Ryan.
David
We just talked about you.
that.
Player B, Callum Craig. This is to equalise. Who won the League 2 non-league playoff?
Jesus.
Fuck, I don't even know it.
No.
League,
I know this.
League
Right,
2
so wait,
player.
League 2 playoff.
League 2, so they played a lowland league team. I'll give you a hint in that. That's fair enough. I think this is one of the ones that if you know it, you know it. If you don't,
There's no chance. 'Cause
Wait.
that's what it's pretty much assuming.
Is it? Right, okay.
Still an Albion.
incorrect. I'll pass it over to Ryan.
Right, so, I mean, I don't get a point anyway. So is it
Yeah.
the team that played the team... What do I need to say? Two
Team
teams?
that, no, the team that won. Who
Oh, that won? No, I don't know who won it. I take it Albion Rovers were in it.
They were in it, yes.
But I don't know who won it. I don't have a clue.
Oh, they get beat, did they not? Aye, fuck.
If I was to mention
No, it's just geese the answer.
Jerry Butler, the Spartans.
Right, okay.
300.
Fuck,
Right, so it's still one each. I can go up to one here. Can I?
We've got a true or false
Wait,
question.
hold on.
No.
Was that my? Did you ask him my question?
No,
No,
that's my
no.
question.
So what am I up? What's this? Am I up
Yours
2-1?
was because yours was who won
2-1.
League One.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Aye, my bad.
2-1.
Sorry,
This is
lads.
to go
Sorry.
3-1 up.
Right, okay.
We've got a true or false question
Right.
here. Erling Haaland was the only player in the Premier League to hit 30 plus goals. True or false?
Did Kane hit the big 3-0? Did he?
It's a 50-50 answer.
I know. I don't know if he hit the 30. I'm going to go. Sorry, I'm going to say false. I'm going to say Kane got 30.
He did. Kane also get 30.
Come on.
Phenomenal season for him.
Yeah.
Will not be
Aye.
playing under Ange Postecoglou next season.
No.
I don't think. What was it? So what would the score be?
It could be
3-2.
3-2.
3-2. It could be here. What is the name of Luton Town Stadium?
Oh, you can't forget this.
I wouldn't have known this.
You're joking. You
I
wouldn't
know
have known
the memes when
Everything
they-
already.
See, I feel it's like Kenilworth Park.
Give him it.
I'll give him
Aye,
it. Kenilworth Road.
Road, fuck.
I'll give
If
him
you-
it. I'll give him it.
If you get the Kenilworth, you get the.
Maybe if I was host, I'd be a bit more thingy. But I'll
You
give him
wouldn't
it.
give it to me.
I'll give him it.
Which, so this is to go
4-2 up.
4-2 up, thank you.
Gone for 5 out of 5 here.
The same as me last week. Which French side finished only 1 point behind PSG this season?
Lens.
Correct. Wow. Player B, Callum Craig. Which,
Talking about Ligue 1, did you know Will Stillwell?
here we go.
My client, Brock Lesnar. Right, on you go. Sorry, boys.
Which Belgian side did Toby Alderweireld break the hearts of at their own ground with his title winner for Royal Antwerp?
Genk.
Correct. What
Because
an answer.
3 teams could have won it. Because I remember somebody was winning.
fat man.
I wouldn't
Then
have gone
Genk took
Did you
over.
see the goal?
And then
No,
he's,
I didn't.
it's a fucking
Screamer.
Screamer. He was still kicking a ball.
Handsome up.
Heat jaggle, man.
Right, so I could win it here for 5 out of
5
5.
out of 5, and I think you'll get this if you know your stuff, if you know your football
If I'm
trivia.
a ball.
So, this is a good question. And when I read this, just quickly, I would have got this instantly. Mm-hmm. Which former Barcelona winger was the top goal scorer in the Russian league?
Oh. Former Barcelona winger playing in
Couldn't
the...
interview him and kick that ball.
What?
Would you not know this?
Scooby, former Barcelona winger, top scorer on the...
Do you want a hint of the team?
Messi for that place.
What is the team?
The team is Zenit St. Petersburg.
Oh, doesn't help
Do
me
you
at
not
all.
know?
No, former Barcelona winger.
Now, what I would say
Ow.
as well, I'll give you another wee hint.
Oh, getting all the hints.
It was only a it was only a season he was there. And
No,
then he
that's
moved.
not who I was going to say then. This isn't my answer. I was going to say Pedro. So, aye. It was only at Barcelona a season.
Do you want another team he played for?
Fuck's sake, you may as well give me the answer. Let's say, fuck's
Played
sake.
for Roma as well.
Played for Roma. Arrivederci Roma. I feel like this should be very fucking easy. Is it that? I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to get this wrong. Is it that boy Taylor?
That boy.
Christian Teo. No, it is not.
Nah, bugger.
Would you like to give an answer?
I couldn't tell you for the life, mate, about Russian football.
Zenit St. Petersburg. Absolutely love this guy. And I can't believe he's still here. Do you remember Malcolm?
Oh, fuck
my
it, that's getting
God.
back
He
away.
played for Bordeaux or something,
He
didn't
played
he?
for and then he played for Roma for a season.
Aye.
Moved to Barcelona.
Yeah.
And then he went to Zenit St. Petersburg.
Wow, fuck, we
Good
hate
player
that.
as well, by all accounts.
Aye. So Callum can equalise
Can I
here
go-
in the
I'm
final
one for
question.
Sundays.
And
This
we've
is
got a true or false question
Oh,
to equalise.
my
Oh
life.
my
I hate
goodness.
this. This is more pressure.
True or false? Yorgos Yakimakis, not formerly known, he's still known as GG. I meant like fondly known as GG, has hit double figures in the MLS since arriving at Atlanta. True or false?
False.
Correct.
Only reason I was confident of that because I was sitting talking about him the other day and somebody at work, I'm like, how many has he scored? Somebody said 9, but I know they played last night, so I wasn't sure if he scored.
Right. Oh,
Only
well,
reason I had a hint.
there you go. Wow.
Correct.
Wow. So it's a tiebreaker
It's a tie-
question.
Oh,
Wow.
no, it's get me to do maths.
4 each. Hey, all right,
Can
wow,
you give me pure-
What time's
Right.
it? 10 past bloody 9 here.
I know. I need my dinner as well.
Right.
Right. 228 games in the Scottish Premiership. Many great goal scorers. You know what's coming next? How many goals were scored in the Scottish Premiership in the 2022-2023 season? Who will I let go first? I will let you go first, Ryan.
Such a horrible, Horrible questions. There's 12 teams.
So it's just the top flight, aye.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
How many
Premiership.
goals? I'm going to go for, say, 735.
Okay.
683.
You've managed to bottle it.
No!
Callum Craig has won this week's quiz. The correct answer, and you were mightily close, by the way, 670. Hard lines, Ryan, but
It
well
wasn't
done,
like-
Callum
I was
Craig.
going to scumbag it and just go one under it, just to proper scum it.
It's one of the ones. Like, my guess isn't that bad.
No,
like,
it's not.
It's not at
30's
all.
not that far off.
Not
but,
at all.
Wow. Still
Close, good answers, good
Yeah,
and well
yeah,
done.
yeah.
Good, a phenomenal quiz. Thank you again, Kieran, for giving us that
Brilliant quiz.
Oh,
Brilliant
quiz.
quiz. During the summer, we're probably going to need a wee bit of spice with like other clubs and yada yada. because
Just a quick question before we end. Are we doing an awards podcast?
we will eventually. We'll get back to recapping the season at some point. It's just been a bit derailed,
I don't
really.
even think there's a point in it.
We've still got to get. We'll do it briefly. We'll do like in a segment. rather
need
than
to
a
do
full
it in a
show.
segment.
We'll do like a 10-minute award ceremony. Like,
Just get everybody to have it ready.
yeah, right.
Just
Who
do
we
it
can
now.
get it to? Right, that's us for this evening. We won't be back next week together, but we should be back following that, and we should hopefully have a manager by then.
Fingers crossed.
So we'll just have to wait and see. But technically, that's us done for the 2022-23 campaign. So thank you for joining us throughout this season. We're not going anywhere, so nothing's changed. Callum, Ryan, thank you very much.
Thanks for having
Thank you
us.
for having me.
See you next time.
Cheers.